On today's episode of Locked On Stars, my reaction to ESPN's feature on Jake Oettinger, who got vulnerable. We have the latest update on Matt Duchene following the hit he received against Minnesota, and a preview of the Canucks for tonight.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Welcome to this Thursday edition of Locked On Stars, brought to you by Gametime. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Jake Oettinger had a feature done on him by ESPN last night, and I thought I would dedicate a segment to it on today's show. I want to give my reactions and thoughts, maybe one final time, on Pete DeBoer and the departure and relationship that was severed during the Western Conference Final last spring. We do have an update on Matt Duchene. It is better than expected, which is a good sign. And we'll have a preview of the Canucks tonight as the Stars look to remain undefeated after taking down 3 Central Division foes to begin the season. They have their first Pacific opponent here tonight at the American Airlines Center. As always, thank you for the love and support on each and every episode. I really, really appreciate it. Grateful I get to do this, and it is a lot of fun. Now, let's talk about this Jake Oettinger feature. For those of you that have not seen it, really encourage you to find it on ESPN, X, wherever. But a lot of tasty nuggets in there. My main takeaway was my goodness, Pete DeBoer completely appeared and was talking with so much conviction and almost disdain for what happened, and he wasn't even playing in the game. That's when I sort of perked up and was like, oh, it was really bad. Like, this was a decision that had to be made by Jim Nell. The Stars had to part ways. It was so obvious listening to some of the comments from Dumba, Mason Marchment, even Connor Hellebuck was in there, which I think was a great perspective as another goaltender who's had some playoff struggles, who has been a workhorse in the regular season. And there was just a lot of good things, but that was my biggest takeaway. Like, okay, the Stars had no choice. This had to be done. And I'm sure DeBoer felt that way after the press conference, or at least a couple of days after. There was just no saving this. And listening to Otter talk about going home, and I can imagine the frustration. Look, I've been in places after games as an athlete. This is back when, high school. But I came home super upset since maybe something didn't go my way. I can only imagine at that level. Like, this is times 100,000. But just trying to put yourself in the shoes of someone like him, hard to do. Number one, I was never a goaltender, never really played a sport that felt like that position, like as lonely as that position can be, and being yanked after all the great work to get there. And I can only imagine the things that were going through his head when he was asked about what he said to maybe his wife and some family after. And he's like, I don't think I could repeat it. I believe it. I'm sure that was just not the most fun car ride home. But the second takeaway was, wow, how awesome is Marchment and Dumba, or just how great are his teammates, and how they went over to his house right after the game. Dumba and Marchment, they went to Otter's house, and they talked through it, talked to about what happened, transpired. They shaved their beards, had a couple brews. I loved hearing that. And for as much crap and criticism of I had about Matt Dumba as a player, it seems like the most stand-up guy. Seemed like a guy that was loved within the dressing room, was a leader. I have criticisms of his of a player, of course, in Dallas, but I mean, just seems like the ultimate teammate. And to hear that from him and how they went to support Otter after, I really love to hear that. I think that was an awesome awesome little nugget in the future, and good to know too, just because it's tough. It's tough to go through those as an athlete. And Otter spoke on the fact that, he's had a lot of great times, for the most part, probably in his career, he has had great things happen to him, probably more often than negative things. And when you have to go through that adversity, it is a bit new. And it was just really amazing to see and hear, like, his best friends, his brothers on the team, like, came to his aid and supported him. That's a team, right? That's a team. And Dumba, he could have been upset with what was going on. He didn't play, I think, the last couple games of the series. He could have been upset about his situation, but no, he goes to the aid of a younger player. I think says a lot about the person, but also says a lot just about the culture the Stars have. And that is something that will last. That is what makes the Dallas Stars special. Not DeBoer. It helped, of course, but that's the stuff that will stay and live on, is that type of a dressing room camaraderie around the group. You can bring in a bunch of different coaches. They're going to have their own take on things, and of course, but I think what makes the Stars special as a team too, even on the ice, is that type of camaraderie. And to hear that support, and two players, I know they're on the Stars, but Marchman's gone now, but Dumba, even, who was a healthy scratch the last couple games, to be there for him, I think is wonderful. And that was a main takeaway for me. Those are the two main takeaways. Is, well, had no choice. I can imagine there were some guys in the room that were seething after Otter was taken out and yanked. And look, I've been on here on the record stated I'll defend DeBoer for making the move. I wouldn't have done it. Probably wouldn't have had the balls to yank Jake, but I understood where he's coming from. But you got to live and die with your decisions as a coach. And he certainly did. And the Stars had to make a change. Just no way they could have brought him back. And as the weeks started to pass following the conference final, just felt like it was inevitable. And the decision was made. But I thought it was a wonderful feature. So, snaps for Emily Kaplan. She did an excellent job. And credit to Oettinger for answering some of the tough questions and kind of opening up. I think that's why we all love him. And he's a really damn good goaltender too. And I think it's, out to prove it this year. I think after what happened, like, kind of wants a little FU in this game. I think that's good. That's all an athlete needs. Think, oh, you doubted me. You think I can't do it? Sometimes it's all an athlete needs. Well, he's off to a pretty good start. Otter has been great. 39 saves the other day against Minnesota. We're going to talk about some of the shot quality too in the game. Sort of back up my point I made about, I thought Dallas was, the better team, sort of clearly at 5-on-5. Get into that some as we preview Vancouver and some good stuff. But we do have some updates on Matt Duchene. What does it mean? Of course, how long? And now what is Dallas going to do to try to fill that void if he does miss an extended period of time? We'll get into that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here. FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet. Put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel gives you so many ways to play. You can build parlays, try player props, or even follow the live lines during the game. It makes watching football even more exciting. And whether you got a little something riding on the action, or you're just, watching your fantasy team, that's where FanDuel can come in. You can have some fun. It makes the game day experience so much better. You got the NLCS, the ALCS going on, baseball, hockey, of course, and football on the weekends. It's a great time to be a sports fan, especially in the United States. There's just so much good stuff occurring right now as we speak. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to get into the game. Download the FanDuel app today and get started. Head coach Glenn Gulutzan provided us with an update today, and he labeled Matt Duchene day-to-day, and he was not ruled out for tonight when this episode comes out. This was not the case. So he could potentially play, but day-to-day, which I think puts, obviously, the worst-case scenario to bed. The worst case was concussion, right? He did take a pretty nasty little lick there from Middleton on the open ice hit. He did not return to the bench following the hit, which I think many of us feared. Oh, that can't be good. That's a head injury of some kind, concussion. Him being labeled as day-to-day, I think completely takes that off the table, which is great. And he's not even ruled out. So maybe he comes back. I think they probably give him a game or two off just to make sure everything is in order. There's no reason to rush him back this early in the season. Obviously, he's been great to start the year, and you want him in the lineup. But if he needs a couple of days, he needs a couple of days. Look, this is Matt Duchene, 34, 35 years old. Sometimes takes a bit longer to shake things off as you age. You're not as quick to recovery, and I think the Stars will be pretty cautious for him. But it's a great sign, positive sign that it's only day-to-day, and I think it takes away what we thought could have been worst case scenario. Now, what will Dallas do if he is out for a couple of days? I am intrigued. I think they would move Steele back down to center and move Steele sort of into that third line slot. I think you play him with Ritzkovian and Sagan and be fine. You can move Robo up back to that top line. Blackwell could play with a Johnson or Bork if you needed to, or move Ritzkovian up to that line with Johnston, Bork. Steele drops down, of course, to the third line with Steele and Blackwell, and then Adam Ernie checks in. I would bet quite a bit of money that Ernie's going to get his debut in a Stars sweater tonight. That would, I think, be the obvious choice if Duchene's not ready to go. But to fill his void, I think you can move Steele down to be your third line center. Robo jumps back up with the top line. That's sort of been the top line anyways. I know Robo starts with Johnston and Bork, but they get put together quite a bit. And then you can move Ritzkovian up, actually, with Johnston and Bork. Get the young trio out there. Blackwell can move up, play with Duchene and Sagan. And then you have your physical forechecking fourth line with Foxa between Ernie and Bastian. I think that's a fine combination. And again, he's only day-to-day, Matt Duchene. So maybe this is just a one-game thing, at most two. And Duchene is back in the lineup. That's how I would see the trios maybe being trotted out. We'll get more answers today. Be sure to follow us on Locked On Stars on X, and usually retweet the line combinations for morning practice and all that good stuff. Petrovic, who I talked about on yesterday's episode about him fighting, who was it? It was Middleton after the hit to Duchene. But I thought he looked excellent in his season debut. Made a couple of really nice passes on defensive zone exits. sort of did exactly what you would expect out of Petrovic. He steps in and he's reliable, he's stable, fits in great with Liam Bichsel. Bichsel's been awesome. I've loved his patience with the puck. Something I've wanted to bring up here over the last couple of days. I think he's been really special in terms of just his patience in his defensive zone with a puck on his stick. He doesn't panic. Bichsel doesn't panic. And he's a bigger guy. He doesn't just throw pucks away. He doesn't just throw it up wall and hope for the best. Like, he makes sound conviction behind his plays and his passes. And there's so many times in the first couple of games here this season where he has the puck behind his net, he's pressured. And so just throwing the puck away, he's calm, he's confident. He makes a smart decision. Maybe he hangs on to the puck longer than you would think. And then he's able to make that pass. And then the Stars are moving up the ice. I've loved his patience. And Petrovic stepped in right alongside him and made some great plays. We'll see if he gets the nod again tonight. Lyubushkin was the healthy scratch the other night. I would think Ernie just gets in. I think that would probably it's probably something Golitzin was looking to do anyways, whether Duchene was going to be hurt. I think there was probably a good shot Ernie was going to check in for somebody, but now with Duchene maybe potentially missing, not ruled out again as of this moment when I'm recording, but I think they want to get Ernie involved. And hopefully they can stay on the box a bit too, just to allow some other guys to play some more minutes. I think they would like to get that fourth line a bit more involved, just have a little more balance because some penalties has caused some issues in terms of deployment. They've had to shuffle up some lines. So if they could stay on the box, that would help. Another 4 power plays the other night. So it's a total of 13 in the first 3 games. They would like to cut down on that. I am curious. Maybe DeSmith goes tonight, goes against a former club. Just give Otter a rest. Actually, that's an interesting topic. I just want to sort of look at the schedule. Stars don't have a back-to-back of the 25th, 26th. So, yeah, and you know what? Otter probably goes tonight. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe Otter goes tonight. You give him 4 in a row, and then you give DeSmith the start in St. Louis on Saturday. Then Otter can go, 1-2, and he's going to take one of the back-to-back games. So he gets, 2 out of the 4 there. So it might be a good spot for DeSmith to get his first work. Maybe even tonight. I want to be shocked to get some, get a team at home. You get him in here to make his season debut. So confirmation on any lineups. But Duchene labeled day today, upper body injury. That's a great sign. Look for Adam Ernie to potentially check in tonight. I bet they get Lyubushkin back in there too, just to show him some love, and we'll get a better idea of how they want to deploy it. Look, Lyubushkin, I would think, is kind of, you never know if Petrovic continues to be solid. And well, he's going to be solid more often than not. That's just his game. All righty. So that was some updates on some lineups and how maybe to expect the Stars to handle the lineup without Duchene potentially for the next couple of games. Let's preview the Vancouver Canucks team. I'm high on, team that I think may make the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. Let's preview Vancouver. Some guys getting off to some slow starts again, and hopefully another win. Keep the Stars undefeated. You can't go 82-0 unless you win the first 4 games of the season. We'll be back to break down the Canucks in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Gametime. Our friends at Gametime are amazing. You've heard me talk about them so much throughout the offseason, and hockey season is officially here. Nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games, but let's be real. Getting tickets can be a headache. It's a hassle sometimes between waiting in queues, surprise fees, prices that can jump. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do, just go watch a Stars game, right? That's where Gametime comes in. The app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NHL tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. Gametime allows you to grab seats for the Dallas Stars or the Texas Rangers. I know they're not playing, but next season, right? It makes it so much simpler. You can see this view from your seat before you buy it, so you don't have to worry about getting an obstructed view, which for the most part, you don't have to worry about at the American Airlines Center. They have zone deals, which are a game changer. You pick the section. Gametime will pick your seats. You can even find NHL tickets for under $25. So take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKED OWN NHL for $20 off. You can swipe, you can tap, ticket, and you go with Gametime. Vancouver Canucks come into tonight with a 1-2 record following a loss to the St. Louis Blues by a final score of 5-2. 1-2-0. Adam Foote, the new head coach, as Rick Tocchet was dismissed in the summer. So Vancouver under new leadership, like the Stars, and they're having some early issues. And as you would expect in Canada, the sky is falling early in the season. But you know about sort of the usual suspects. And I will say, Vancouver, no matter how they're doing, it feels like they give Dallas a hassle, especially on the road. But the Canucks always seem to give Dallas some issues. But you have Pettersson, Brock Besser, who just got his new deal. And Pettersson's off to a slow start. No points in his first 3 games. You know, Besser has a couple of goals. Sherwood's their leading scorer currently. He's got 3 goals in the first 3 games. But I never really go to the big names with Vancouver. It seems like some of the players that give Dallas some fits are maybe those middle 6 guys. Connor Garland, that's a name I feel like has terrorized Dallas. Hedel, Evander Kane, right? They got some heavy bodies up front, but they are also dealing with a lot of injuries. Hoaglander's down. Derek Forber, their defenseman, their veteran, he was just placed on the IR, so he's going to miss the next handful of games. They won their season opener against Calgary, but have since dropped 2 in a row. It looks like the Canucks could bring in Pierre-Olivier Joseph off the injured reserve to fill in for Forber. Otherwise, they may have to make a call up from the AHL. But Joseph may be ready at some point. He's 26 and could slot in. Their defense moves the puck really well. That's sort of their I guess, core and their bread and butter. You got Quinn Hughes, you got Roenick, you got the 2 Petterssons, who are very good. So Dallas is going to have to shut down Vancouver's transition game. That's where you can get in trouble with Vancouver because of the talent they have on the back end. They can move pucks up. Stars have to make sure they get pucks in deep, not making turnovers at the opposing blue line. Vancouver coming back the other way on an odd man rush because they can't make you pay. They have some talent. There's some guys that maybe you've never heard of. No disrespect. But again, Vancouver can give you fits. And Demko's a great goaltender, right? We know what Thatcher Demko can be. Stars last year made opposing goaltenders, didn't matter who it was. Some look like Vezina candidates nights on some occasions. So they have to be sharp and not just waltz into the game. They had a really poor start to Minnesota against Minnesota the first 2.5 minutes, but they picked up. They need to come out on fire and get on Vancouver early. Don't allow them to gain some life. Don't allow that offense to find a rhythm because so far they've struggled a bit. Their power play here in the early going, they're 0 for 7. So they haven't looked great on that side of special teams. Their PK is at 91%. So they've been fine on that side of things. But 8 goals this season. It's all at even strength so far. So don't allow a struggling power play to find a rhythm. And the Stars power plays looking good. I like the sets. I like the puck movement, especially against Minnesota. He usually struggles with the PK. A bit better of a challenge here tonight against Vancouver. But I caution players like Garland, Hedl, even like those middle 6 guys that have given Dallas some fits in the past, and we all know what special talent they have on the back end. They have to shut down the ability for those guys to jump up, join the rush, because they will generate quite a bit of offense. But so far it's been some of the depth guys for Vancouver that have chipped in. As I said, I mean, nothing from Pettersson here. Just the one assist in 3 games. He's only playing 15-58, so he's not playing a ton. They're pretty balanced when you look at a lot of the distribution. Like Garland's played their most, 18 minutes. Besser's behind him, 17-48. So this will be a really fascinating contest. Timko's been great, though. 944 save percentage, 1.54 goals against in a couple starts. He's 1-1. So he can provide issues, that's for sure. He made 17 of 18 saves in the win against Calgary in the opener. He stopped 34-36 against Edmonton in the loss. So he can certainly hold you in a ball game. And we all know Dallas over the first couple of games, they've gotten some leads in the third period. They've struggled. They've struggled to maybe shut the door completely, although they closed the game down against Minnesota the other night. You would like it to not be that close and not make it that interesting. But sometimes that's what the Stars do. Maybe prediction time. Why not? Let's drop some predictions. I like the Stars. I think it's a good spot again for Dallas. They're going to lose eventually, but I like this spot. I'll go 5-1. 5-1. Gigantic win for Dallas. They flex their muscles, and the Stars remain undefeated tonight. Player of the game, throw it out there. Prediction for the Supernova. We're doing Galaxy Greats now this season. If you don't know what that is, check out yesterday's episode. We're doing Galaxy Greats. It's fun. Supernova, which is basically our number 1 star. Let's give it to Robo. Robo's flying around. Maybe a hat trick. Why not? I'll put it in the books. Robertson hat trick, 5-1. Stars beat Vancouver. That'll do it for today's episode of Locked On Stars. Hey, if you're craving more hockey content, Stars fans, check out Locked On NHL Game Night. You can find it on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. They will do breakdowns of each and every game after the conclusion of every night. They're a lot of fun. Every once in a while, I throw in a short. You can listen to me ramble a bit, but you can listen to other teams, other local channels, and how they feel about their games after each and every night. It's great stuff. You can follow Locked On NHL. Be sure to subscribe to Locked On Stars. Hit the notification bell. Thank you, as always, for the love and support. Great rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow with a breakdown of the Vancouver Stars contest, hopefully with a win and plenty more to get you off into your weekend. So long, Stars fans.